Joni D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's take on the Hazbin Hotel Episode 1. And let's talk about the controversy. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 13, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. So, as always, I'll give you my non-spoiler review, my spoiler review, and then we're going to talk about the controversy around Hazbin Hotel. Okay, so I just watched the first episode. I didn't watch the whole series yet. I might watch it. It's actually pretty good. Yeah, it's decent. As much as I hate musicals, the songs were okay. Tolerable, I'll say. Didn't eat up the entire episode, which is good. I don't see it lasting too long, quite frankly. I don't think it has legs, but it's fine. It's Hell of a Boss with different characters. That's basically what it is. And I prefer Hell of a Boss because it's a little more narrative oriented. And I would rather them not do all the singing. I want to see the stuff happen in hell. Now, that's about it. I mean, it's fine. If you like Hell of a Boss, you'll like the show. If you don't like Hell of a Boss, is it too vulgar and gruesome? No, it's not that vulgar. At least not that first episode. There was a brief flash, which someone talked about in one of the reviews of S&M, but it's part of the decor of hell. The idea is it's hell. Like, everybody's suffering and they're all horrible people and they're all killing and murdering each other. And, but your main character, the daughter of the devil, is desperately trying to save wayward sinners because she believes she can get them into heaven. Now, there's additional stuff that the series maps out. And I do like that it maps out their world. Now, if you're religious, this is obviously going to fly in the face of religion. It does not really comport to Christianity. It uses some of the trappings and some of the stories and builds upon it. And it is a little feminist. Yeah, because one of the central characters is Lilith. Yeah, Lilith figures pretty prominently in the origin story. And yes, the demons are the good guys and the angels are the bad guys. But the way I would put it is the demons are the interesting characters and the angels are jerks. So it does, however, have a redemption arc. But I can already see what's coming down the road. Anyhow, that concludes my non-spoiler review. It's really not much to say about it. It's only a half hour long. It's on Amazon. If you like this kind of stuff, it's fine. It's fine. I prefer Hell of a Boss, but this is okay. This is, I didn't mind it. The half hour flew by. Okay, so spoilers. Ahoy. First act. It's set up. You got the daughter of the devil and Lilith, and she cranks through right in the opening scene what the deal is. The deal is every year the angels come down to hell and massacre all the demons, which are wayward sinners who have been turned into demons, and they massacre them because there's too many of them, and hell keeps getting more and more powerful because more and more people go to hell. There's also a love story between Lucifer and Lilith, and makes them the heroes. And it doesn't really mention God. I don't think God was mentioned. It was more implied that the angels did everything, not necessarily God. So I think they stayed. I don't know if they used God in the entire thing. But they portray the angels as completely heartless. And then, so it starts in the Hazbin Hotel. Our main character wants to use the hotel to redeem sinners. The regular cast is introduced. Her girlfriend, because of course, it's got to be a gay romance in it. There's a ton of gay stuff though in Hell of a Boss, so I wasn't surprised or shocked by that at all. Then there's a demon who's a porn star who's staying at the hotel because he realized if he told him, oh, I'm interested in redeeming myself, he could crash there for free. So I guess it doesn't cost you anything to stay at the hotel. Then there's a demonic overlord who for some reason used to do the radio in hell, but no longer does it. And he hates television, and he's sort of their sponsor. He's very powerful. Then there's his sidekick, who is the bartender, voiced by, oh gosh, he's the guy who does the voice of the president in Rick and Morty. He also did the Fallout voiceover. David Keith, I think that's his name. So he does a voice. Then there's another little imp character who runs around stabbing things. And that's about it. I think that was all of them. And so the Overlord produced a commercial for the Hazbin Hotel, but made fun of it at the same time. So your main character is trying to be nice to everybody, so she has to tell him, hey, I can't really use this commercial because you make fun of us. Whereas her girlfriend's a little more tactless and is willing to say stuff. It's a very similar lineup to Hell of a Boss, right? So, in Hell of a Boss, you have Blitzo, who is the main character of sorts, but he's always having sex like the porn star character here. He's always banging dudes. He's gay. Then he has his daughter, quote unquote, who's not really his daughter, and she's like the girlfriend character in this. Then there is, I forget the character's name, but he's like the one employee is always calling him sir. He's like this character, young and idealistic, and he has his girlfriend. And then there's a couple of more correlations, but you got to watch Hell of a Boss to sort of know. Overall, though, it's fine. It's a good dynamic. The characters are fun. But in the second act, she gets a call from her dad to say, go meet with the angels. They want to have a meeting. So she goes to the meeting and seizes that as an opportunity to pitch the Hazbin Hotel to the angels so they support it. So instead of coming down and exterminating half the population, the angels will allow certain sinners to ascend to heaven. They, of course, have zero interest in that. They were actually having the meeting to tell her, we're coming back in 6 months instead of a year because we're so bored and we enjoy killing all the demons. And he sings, the angel who is Adam, the first man, the angel, the first man, sings a song about how things are black and white, right and wrong. And then at the end, she goes back dejected, but the other characters have produced a commercial that actually makes the Hazbin Hotel look good. And then she doesn't tell them that the angels are coming back in 6 months, but then they announce it on TV before they air the commercial. And so the commercial doesn't air, and the angels are coming back. So, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Now let's address the controversy. So the right-wing blogosphere, and that would include like Fandom Pulse and Breitbart, a few others, are crying that this show is blasphemous, degenerate, and blah, 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 blah. It is. However, that doesn't necessarily mean it's without merit whatsoever, I'll say. Now, if you don't like things that are blasphemous to your religion and you're Christian, I understand why you wouldn't watch the show. But if you're not, then you don't care. It's a show that uses biblical figures as fodder for its comedy. If you were going to set a comedy in hell, part of the fun would be characters that would want to redeem themselves. And that's what you have here. The daughter of the devil wants to redeem souls, wants to save souls. And in hell. And that's a funny premise. The opposite can't work, right? You can't have a guy in heaven trying to corrupt souls. They wouldn't let him in. It's heaven. It's a little more like, what's heaven like? Nobody really knows. Hell, people can wrap their brain around hell. It's hard for them to wrap their brain around heaven. So from a literary standpoint, especially these days, it's cooler to have your characters set in hell. If you're going to have them set in hell, you have to make them the heroes. Because you always have to make them the heroes. So you have to give them some sort of avenue towards redemption. And it's here. So, the daughter of the devil, God, I can't think of her name already. I already forgot. She wants to redeem souls. That's a positive. I know, the right-wingers are, like, furious at the show. But they're also focusing on the wrong thing. Yes, there was a shot, and it's literally 2 seconds long, of two characters in S&M gear going at it. But they don't show any genitalia. It's done in a cartoony way, and the idea is it's hell. I mean, she at one point is singing this song and going to this meeting, and she passes through Cannibal Town, and there's a bunch of cannibals eating someone on the street, and that's exactly what I would expect in hell. To horrible things to happen. But it's funny because, first off, she has a reaction to it. So she's not a bad character per se. She's actually a gentle soul, so to speak, even though she's the daughter of the devil. It's kind of not her fault she's in hell. I mean, she's the daughter of the devil. She's trying to be good, but she may be incapable of good because of her origins. So you have to take that into account. And that may be the wind up to the show even, because it still has a dynamic of good and evil. It's just skewed because they need the angels to be kind of the villains. They kind of are. Now, it could be revealed later that it's really not the angels that are the villains. It's certain angels that are the villains. Like Adam. Like Adam's gotten too arrogant. I think there's a little feminism slipped in this because you have Lilith, who's often sort of portrayed that way, and they portray her as, she and the Lucifer fall in love, then they're cast into the pit, but it's Lucifer who loses his will, and Lilith continues to make hell as nice as she can, but really she's not. That's part of the problem. They don't really get into what Lilith made hell. If Lilith made hell a pit of suffering and degeneracy, well, then she's not the good guy, is she? But they kind of gloss over that. For the function of the show, Lilith doesn't even matter. She's a figure in the past. Whereas you've got your present character, and she is the one you want to focus on. So, I understand why people who are religious would be offended by this show. I mean, it's kind of an offensive show. But it's offensive in a way that it's been done a million times. Okay, so it's offensive to Christians. I mean, there have been worse offenses. And they're not just offending Christians just to offend them. It's a comedic thing. They're trying to make all the characters, first off, try to make them all unique. and they're trying to make them, you know, there's a reason they're in hell. They're deeply flawed, messed up characters, and evil. Some are evil. I mean, the demonic overlord is clearly evil. Like in Hell of a Boss, Stolas kind of isn't that evil. He's kind of wimpier than that. He's kind of almost pushed into evil. And that's just his character, you know? And that's just a character in a stupid cartoon. So to get Ben out of shape over this, there's really no reason. In fact, you give it more attention. So if you're offended by this, my counsel to you is not to watch it, not to talk about it, not to review it. You know, if it's that offensive to your eyeballs, just don't watch it. You know, there's stuff like that I wouldn't classify it as offensive, but it's just so awful. I can't stand it. Star Wars is one of those things. I just don't want to feed it anything. I don't want to watch it. I have no interest in it anymore. I think they've ruined it. I think they ruined it during the prequels. So I don't give it any oxygen. I'm not going to review any of the shows. I try not to even talk about it when it's in the news. Once in a while I talk about it because, you know, it's so big, it's still around, but it's rapidly fading away. And at some point I will start, you know, seeing a Star Wars story and I'll just pass it right by. I think I have done that a few times with some of the TV shows that never came to pass. So if you're on board with that kind of thinking, if you think, oh my God, this is the most blasphemous thing I've ever seen, no one should watch it, you shouldn't watch it. You shouldn't talk about it. You should just ignore it, because in a few years it'll be gone. And I promise you, the creator of this show will eventually get sick of doing this, because that's how creatives roll. Now, she might have a lot of success doing this and do 5 seasons, 10 seasons even. But after that, it'll end. And who cares how it ends? You know, it may spiral down the drain because it's too woke. It may end up like the Harley Quinn cartoon and get crazier and crazier to the point it's unwatchable. I think Harley as a character had that spiral. At first, she was great on the Batman animated series, and then they brought her back and they kind of ruined her because they just focused way too much on her. I don't see this going more than 5 seasons, maybe. There's only a few places this could go. Either the Hazbin Hotel works and they start saving souls, in which case you could probably do the show a while. It would be interesting. It would be not unlike Satan 6 that Jack Kirby created before he died. And there have been a few comics like that too. I don't think you'd call Jack Kirby a degenerate who was trying to destroy religion. You know, there is a redemption arc for your main character. She wants to redeem people, and possibly herself. I don't know. They didn't get into that, which was just off. And then the question is, are they going to get into God, what God believes, what are the exact rules for heaven? Are they going to be super hardcore Christian rules, or are they going to be some more nebulous rules like the show implies? Or is it going to be nothing about rules at all? It's going to be something else. But the show had the Angel song, which was about things being black and white. So there are some levels and tiers here. I think the inevitable result will be that eventually some of the angels, God will intervene, tell the angels they've gone too far, and cast some of the angels into hell, and then even more characters will be in hell. I think that's the way it's headed. Because if you're going to keep doing the show, you need more characters, and a show like this set in hell typically means the character's going to keep failing. Now, again, it's got more of a feminist bent, so I think there will come a point at which, if they go down that path too hard, you're going to see the main character give a speech about how, really it's men, and how the men don't do anything, which I think would be a mistake. I think they should keep it happy and light. They've somehow managed to do that with Hell of a Boss. While at the same time they've gotten into some character development. I think it gets a little maudlin once in a while, a little too deep into some of the characters. I'd like to see a little more of them going to Earth, killing people or killing devils, whatever they do. I'm not exactly sure what they do on Hell of a Boss, who they're supposed to be killed. They're kind of like a hit squad, but they never quite explain if hit squads exist in Hell. This one, and I'm wondering if the Hell of a Boss characters are going to come to the Hazbin Hotel at some point. Maybe. I guess I could see that. That would be weird. I don't know if those groups of characters would jibe, but this is definitely in that same mode. I could see it happening, but I wouldn't want to see the Hell of a Boss characters end. I'd like to see them continue, because to me they made more sense in Hell than this character. This character kind of is going to paint herself into a corner. Either eventually she's going to have to redeem people and herself, or destroy heaven, or she's going to realize that she's never going to get out of hell, and she's more like her mother Lilith, and that she's stuck there forever, and that's where she likes to be. Also, too, I would say the language, the F-bombs, are flowing pretty readily, almost unnecessarily, to some extent. It, to me, from a comedic standpoint, it portrays a bit of a weakness. If you're constantly cursing, I get it, they're demons, they're supposed to be bad, but I would like to see at least the main character not curse, because that, to me, would fit more with her character, that she just wouldn't curse. Not because she can't, just because she generally doesn't curse. Unless it's like a super extreme situation. Which we really didn't get into here. So, yeah, I thought the show was fine. If you like Hell of a Boss, you'll like it. If you're going to be offended by it, don't watch it. And it'll just go away. It might go away sooner than 5 years. Who knows with Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime spent $1 billion on Rings of Power. I don't know what they're spending on this. Kudos for them for picking it up, because you have to admit, even if you're offended by this, the cartoon is very well done. It sounds great. The songs are fun. The animation's wonderful. Everything's on point with this. So they're not cheaping out at all. The backgrounds, look at the shot. Look at all those designs. And she does have a good sense of her world, which is hell. So, don't be surprised by the degeneracy. That's what's in hell. Again, making the angels mean, I understand you'd be offended by that. But the parts of hell that are degenerate and awful, I don't think you have any reason to be offended by that. That jibes with what hell is supposed to be. So would I watch the rest of this? I might, Rabbit. I might. I hear there is a very extreme sexual scene. It wasn't in the scene I saw, but I hear it's somewhere else. Look, they've had those scenes alluded to in Hell of a Boss. I don't know if we actually saw one, but definitely there were a lot of very sexual things alluded to in that, and some in this. So I fully expect the character who was in the porn will constantly make allusions like that and say, oh yeah, whatever. And I suspect he's in that scene that people are referring to in some of the reviews. But overall, I think it's a fine show. If you're offended, don't watch. Change the channel, as they say. Don't write a big thing about how how much you're offended. Judge it by its merits. From its comedic merits, it works fine. It's a good comedic premise. You have a character who wants to redeem people in hell, and it's nearly impossible. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny she's trying to do that. It's kind of an impossible task. You're not going to see it happen, except maybe in the final episode, she gets redeemed, or she finally redeems one soul, and that's the end. And I wouldn't expect the whole show to flip heaven and hell on its head, at least not early on. Maybe towards the end there'd be some sort of massive battle and then some kind of reckoning where it's like, oh well, maybe people in hell aren't so bad, and maybe the people in heaven can learn something, or something stupid like that. But it's just a cartoon. Who cares? It's not the Bible. You don't have to believe it. Just, if you don't like it, ignore it. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more based takes. If you can find a more based take, I say, take it. Join us tonight at 7 p.m. for the live stream where we do it live. Hope to see you there. We'll see you in the next one.